Yes, this video is about a New Year's resolution, and here we are at the beginning of March. Hello, YouTube friends. I am today coming back with a couple things. I don't have a quilt today. I wanted, though, to keep content going on my channel. I have had a couple finishes. That is my first finish of the year. This is a free pattern, and it is from Tilda Fabrics. And I will put a link in the description below. So if you're interested in that, I thought it would be fun to make a sewing machine out of floral fabric, and it's actually flannel. And it's flannel on the back as well. So it sticks to my design wall really great. I am back on 2 feet. I have been back on 2 feet now for 3 weeks. However, obviously, when I did first get back on my foot, there was a bunch of pain. The pain is somewhat still there, but the swelling is my issue now, where finding a shoe to put on in the morning, I can't even wear a sock yet because my foot will swell up. So I'm still having issues, but it was so nice to be able to stand at my machine and work. So for the main reason for this video, I have had scraps laying on my table now for 2 months. Well, 2.5 months. And I played around with this idea of my stuff that I already have cut up and just ready to go. And I'm playing with that idea now, and you will see a quilt come in the coming weeks that'll be a very spring-like quilt with the instructions on how to make that. As I've been clearing off my table, cutting up my scraps, I have decided a New Year's resolution. Yes, this video is about a New Year's resolution, and here we are at the beginning of March. So, because I broke my foot, it kind of derailed my channel plans for making content, and I did struggle through that. I made it. I lived. Yay! As you know, if you have watched my other videos, you know that if I have scraps laying about, I cut them down to usable sizes. Just a second. So this weekend I have been cutting down my small scraps into 2.5-inch squares, 2-inch squares, 1.5-inch squares. Got a lot of those because I have smaller scraps, and then 3.5-inch squares. Okay, this is what I do. These are for my cathedral window that I have not finished. I hope to get back to that. I had a plan to just start working my UFOs in, and my foot just totally derailed everything. So, and because I'm not back up to par, I want to push content that's quick, and that cathedral windows is not going to be quick, so I'm not even going to work on it. My New Year's resolution is to use my scraps. I have been doing that famously now for several years, but this year I wanted to try something different. So I was watching Laura Lynn from Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, and she is doing a year of scrap for her videos, her lives this year, which is fantastic. And she really comes up with some good ideas. Well, she had said, hey, we're going to be working on this. It's a triangle quilt. Go download it. Use your scraps. So I went there and I was like, okay, I don't like following patterns, so I'm not going to follow a pattern. I have enough scraps that I can just make something scrappy. And because some of my scraps are small and I don't want to throw them away, I have decided that this is going to be my scrap resolution quilt. And I have been cutting down my scraps into triangles, and I'm going to set, and I've got like a pretty big stack of these. I'm going to set these next to my sewing machine, and I'm going to use these as leader enders. And what that means, every time I feed something through my machine and I have to break thread, I will sew 2 of these together. And then if I keep doing that, I am going to end up with a quilt by the end of the year with no effort. So let me take some of this down and I'll put some of this up on the wall. Okay, so these will kind of look like this. I'm going to try and sew a dark to a light. But I may just go scrappy with this and not worry about placement of it because it's a free quilt. Basically, a scrap quilt is a free quilt from the scraps. So I am going to be, my New Year's resolution is to work on scrap resolution. And that's what I'm going to call this. I don't know how far I'm going to get, but any scrap that I use is a fantastic thing. And that's kind of, you have to have the mindset to have a scrap usage. It helps you. You get almost frustrated and angry because you keep them, because you don't want to throw them away, but yet sometimes you just don't know how to use them. And so I have decided to do this, and so that is going to be my leader ender challenge for the year for myself. You wouldn't have to use triangles. You could use hexagons. You could use tumblers. You could use squares. I mean, you just have them sitting next to your machine, and instead of breaking thread, just sew off whatever you're sewing and then feed that through there. And you will get results pretty quickly if you sew regularly. Let me take this down. Also, I had another idea, and let me bring that forward to the camera. So for years, I have kept all my fabrics in a bag, and I separated them by color category. Well, I got me some bins. And I didn't know you could get these bins in color, which I now have colored bins as well. But you cannot see through these bins. They're at the very top of my shelf. And when my foot was broken, I couldn't tell what color was in my bin. And normally it wouldn't matter because, I could just get them all down, go through them, and then put them back up. And because I was relying on someone else, I come up with the idea of taking one of my cam snaps and putting the color on the outside of the bin, so I know that these are all my neutrals, and I know I can just go grab that off the shelf. So I did yellow, white. I did not have a black cam snap, so I just pinned a piece of black fabric on the outside. I was very disappointed when these came. They're very useful, but they're very drab. I wonder if I couldn't somehow reverse engineer this and make it a bin to where I could make it out of color, use up my scraps, and yes, I've wasted a cam snap on this, but you can always remove it if you want. So this is working. I can go ask somebody, hey, can you get this down for me? Because I do have to use a step stool to get up to the top of my shelf, and that's not a very steady thing to do when you are coming off a broke foot. Steps are still they are very unsteady for me. Yes, I've come up with this hack, so yeah. And some fabric will peek through, but not all my bins are completely full like this one, because this is one of the ones I mainly use. So I'm not sure what I'm going to come up with as far as videos for the year. I find that if I make a commitment and say, I'm going to do a pickle dish, I kind of derail my plans and then I don't do it. So I'm just going to leave it open and surprise you throughout the year with whatever projects I'm working. Sorry for the tardiness for this video. I look forward to sewing on the scrap resolution, and I'm hoping that this has inspired you to maybe cut up some of your scraps and just sew them together as they sit next to your machine as you're diligently working on another project. So I guess that's it for now. If you didn't notice, I did put a card in for Laura Lynn's video. I will go ahead and do that here so that you can get to her video, and I will pin her video as well down below so you can actually go get that pattern, because it is a free pattern, and then decide how you want to go with it. She is sewing that for the month of March. I'm going to be sewing that for the whole year. So, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I love hearing from all of you. And a sneak peek. I'll go ahead and give you a sneak peek of what this is the last part of the video. You get to see the surprise. Color. Thanks for watching, and thank you to all my viewers who have been keeping up my numbers. That is helping out the algorithm. I appreciate it very much. And till next time, bye.